What's going on, Geeks? You're listening to episode 350 of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name's Cody Armour. I'm here with Lj.Lowery.
Yo!
And Shelley Nollan.
Hello!
And this week, we're geeking out about not E3, basically.
Yeah.
Movies getting patch updates, because that's now a thing. And The Witcher. Henry Cavill's The Witcher. Not just, some other Witcher. It's Henry Cavill still.
It's all video game TV stuff this week, too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I didn't do that on purpose. I could have said video game TV shows.
It's all good. Witcher's the thing everybody wants to see anyway, so.
Yes. The other one, I have twisted feelings on it.
Okay, let's go. Okay.
Yes, that was good.
Yes. All right, how to get into there. Let's talk about the games we've been playing. I am still playing Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't think that I really have anything to add that I haven't said already. I know that I'm at a point where I probably need to beat it.
How many, generally speaking, hearts and stamina do you have?
Oh, I thought you figured dungeon. I have 1 heart. No, I've done 1 dungeon. I have 10 hearts, and I'm like 1 thing away from having 2 rings of stamina.
Oh, okay. You said how many dungeons you did?
1.
1?
He has 1 left, right?
So
well, you gotta keep...
I'll probably like it if I finish those.
I was gonna say, the thing about this game that makes it different than Breath of the Wild, and again, speedrunners prove me wrong, maybe, but I haven't watched a speedrun because I only just beat it, which I'll talk about, but, I really do think you have to, like, actually do a story. You actually have to, like, do these other dungeons and / temples or whatever, to get to the end. Unlike Breath of the Wild, that whole shtick is you just go right to Hyrule Castle, you can beat Ganon, which is awesome, and so that's what makes Tears of the Kingdom a little bit different. It's like, you don't really get that option, I don't think.
The one thing I am doing right now is getting all of the memories.
Oh, sick. Yeah, definitely do that.
The Master... getting the Master Sword.
Mm-hmm.
That might be light spoilers, but... and then I'll probably go to the dungeons. So I'm not, like, bored with it yet. I can feel myself winding down, and I'm like, because I'm just wandering. I really need to get going. I think that I will rekindle that when I start playing it really again.
Yeah, I think...
I'm not playing it for hour spurts of nothingness.
I think I kind of was getting to that point too. Granted, I'm way farther than you and over 100 hours in, but I was getting to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't really have any goals right now. And the goals that I do have don't actually sound very fun because honestly, I haven't been enjoying the shrines that much. And maybe I'm enjoying them just as much as in Breath of the Wild, but I feel like I'm enjoying them less. I'm very tired of these Eventide style shrines where they just take all your stuff. Every time I walk into one, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, but I can't just ditch all of them. Like, I do, and, I kind of got to the point where I had enough hearts that they were easy, but I still didn't like doing them. And then some of the puzzle ones also don't make sense. I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, but I feel like some of them don't make sense, and I don't like the one where it's, like, Eventide.
It's a stone, bringing, like, one of those green stones up to another, like, shrine to get it to unlock or whatever. Those drive me nuts, and, like, they take so much more time for me than, like, a puzzle one.
Yes.
So I've been avoiding all of those. I'm like, no, if I have to, like, do work, I'm out.
Yeah, but I had, like, 26 hearts. I had all full stamina, and then, so basically what I was doing, and I had done all the, temples and dungeons and stuff, right? And I was running around, and I was beating, like, King Gleox, other stuff, and I'm like, I can do this, but it's not very fun, honestly, to me. Like, and I think it was mostly because
my eyes on a King Gleoc I need to beat.
Yeah.
I will beat it.
Yeah, I haven't actually beat that one specifically. I've beat 2 others. I didn't realize there were 2 others, so that's pretty funny. But yeah, and I kind of got this realization that feels stupid to say, like, in hindsight, but at the moment, I think I was still trying to convince myself that I, like, needed to do all the things, or explore all the things, or invest time, like, everywhere. Like, I did all the shrines in Breath of the Wild. I did all the stuff. I did lots of stuff in Breath of the Wild, right? Like, I tried to do all, like, the major quests. I did Tarrytown. I did all the stuff. But here, I was like, I think I'm done. I don't need to do everything. I don't need to get all the clothes. I don't need to do everything. Sorry,
there's so much to it, and it literally is kind of like you can do what you want in a lot of ways. It definitely gives you the freedom to kind of do like what you find fun. for the most part. Unless you find dungeons fun, because you do have to do those. But
I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I love classic Zelda games, but for some reason, I didn't really love these Zelda puzzles. I don't know. They're actually quite similar to old Zelda games, but I think I just something about it I just wasn't liking.
It'd probably be better if you were given some kind of item that was like.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of are. You're given an ability, but
kind of. Yeah, I know what you mean though.
I don't know.
Something about that, like diving into a dungeon.
I want a hook shot, and I don't know why I don't have a hook shot. I don't know
if
that comes up later,
man.
but like this game is made for a hook shot.
You're absolutely right. That is. Oh my gosh, you're right.
I thought that Breath of the Wild, that was my favorite part of all Zelda games. You get the hook shot, and you were just flying around.
Yeah, I feel like I do miss that aspect a lot. I never really like verbalized or thought about it that hard, but I think that's like very specifically one reason or one thing I really miss in old Zelda games is you go into a dungeon, you know you're gonna like get to a point where you finally get this item, and then you're just gonna be able to like figure out the rest of the dungeon. Like things don't always make sense right away, but you're like, okay, that probably has to do with the item I get, and then eventually you get it, then you can do the rest of the dungeon. And like some of the items, like you don't really use much outside of the dungeon. Some of them you do. Like I remember getting like bow and arrow is like a huge deal in a lot of games, or boomerang, like oh my gosh, boomerang and Phantom Hourglass is like so fun because you could literally just draw the entire path, and you have to do cool puzzles basically like around that where you have to like light torches, you catch on fire, but you have to like hit to the torch first and then light the unlit torch. Like stuff like that. Like I find so fun, but that is just completely missing in these games because I don't count those abilities as like items. They don't really. I don't really equate them, right? So, but anyway, I beat the game.
Yeah, I guess I didn't make that connection that you are given something to. And then you have to use that throughout that dungeon to kind of figure it out.
Yeah, but I
also went with the water one, and that's probably the lamest of the.
It's so sad because Sidon's my favorite character, or one of my favorite characters, and I'm like, why do they have to do him dirty like that? Why can't they give him a better ability? Like, bro.
Yeah. They definitely could have done. If I could have brought like a waterfall down on things,
it's really lame. It's really upsetting, but
or like
cool
swim
waterfall,
up,
and then you could go up the waterfall,
or even swim up waterfalls again.
They do give you that ability, but it's separate.
Okay.
Yep. So
Sidon should give me a waterfall to wherever I want it to go. And attack enemies. They could have made that really cool.
That could have been neat. But anyway, so I beat the game, and great game. I'm glad it's over with, though, because I think I'm ready to move on to other games. I have Final Fantasy 16 demo downloaded and maybe try that. I might do Miles Morales because
I was wondering what was happening. I was like, it was released?
Yeah, it's just a demo. Yeah, it's just a demo. So I want to play the demo. I also want to play actually Miles Morales because I've had this game for a long time. My husband beat it, but I actually haven't. And now, again, watching Spiderverse for the second time, I'm like, I just need to play this game because I'm in a big Spiderverse, Spider-Man mood. So I might do that. Anyway, I just feel it's like I obviously had a really great time with the game, but I'm glad it's over with, and I envy those who can just endlessly roam around and do everything or love exploring. But I don't know. I couldn't. But I already put over 100 hours into it, so.
No desire to build robots and things like.
No, exactly, same. It just never would work, honestly. Like every time I came up with something, it was like, this doesn't work. And I'm like, well, okay, thanks. That's enough about Tears of the Kingdom, though. Moving on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll also mention Session Zero. I played a little bit of tabletop, kind of, and this is my first Session Zero I've ever done. I've never did a Session Zero with any of my other campaigns that I've been a player as, and I think they are definitely a must.
I fully agree. They're super helpful. Yeah. Just answering any questions, establishing stuff, building characters. We had a Session Zero recently for our Star Wars campaign. So we haven't started yet, but we had our Session Zero, and that was really helpful because now we're all kind of on the same page on stuff. And some of us, like me, I'm super fresh to it. Some of my other friends have already played that system, but it was really, really helpful to just kind of be like, this is kind of how it works. And we can we even started a little bit of the role play. We started a little bit the dice rolling, got to practice that a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I'm finally starting to get this. So yeah, Sessions one's very important.
Yeah, we went over lines and veils of the thing, so it's a hard line is something that you don't want the story, and then a veil is something that you don't want detailed. That was really cool.
Setting boundaries is huge.
Yeah. Did a few like boundaries outside of that too, which is something that we've never really done. Well, like pet peeves, all sorts of different things like that. And then over like homebrew rules. And then we also did a little bit of the role playing. So we did. I just brought him to a tavern. And it was like we just got done with something. And this like guy that hired you is like buying you all drinks, and you like are asking each other questions just to get to know each other. And so
perfect.
It allowed the players to kind of be their characters for the first time, and it helped me as a DM kind of know who their characters are going to be before we start playing.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. So the next session, session 1, will be in July, and I'm very, very excited about it. But highly recommend if you've never heard of Session 0, check it out and do it. Good stuff. What else have you been playing, LJ?
Yeah, so I've been playing Ocarina of Time. You guys were talking about the tools.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And
Hookshot.
Yeah, so I really felt that experience with. It had been so long that I didn't remember like the Jabba Jabu's belly like dungeon, and so I'm thinking like at first it was kind of one of those things where I got to it at the end of one stream a few weeks ago, and then I was like, okay, let me go back to this. You know, like next week it's a good stopping point, and so I finally did, and then when I did, I like looked up a small thing, just like, okay, what do I need to do to get started? Yeah. And once I got that boomerang, oh wow, it was just once you get that tool,
it all just clicks.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's super good. I did really get to share a cool moment. I had my nephew watching because I did like a day stream, and so he got to see me do all the like he's been getting into Zelda. Like he and his mom have been playing like Link's Awakening, you know, like a couple nights a week, whatever. That remake, and so like it was cool because like I haven't really showed him Ocarina of Time because I'm like, this is my Zelda game. I basically told him like, this is the Zelda me and your mom grew up on, and so I put the stream out on in the living room, and he got to watch me do the whole, you know, changing, you know, the time jump and stuff like that, and just getting to
that part. So cool.
Yeah, and so getting to that part was really cool for me too because like I haven't really maybe played that part in almost 2 decades, you know, like, and it was just cool to like replay this game. And so like, it was a neat like hit of nostalgia for me too. And just like, oh man, like it made me tear up, almost like I wanted to tear up because I'm like, man, like this is my game. Like it was really special at the time. So I'm like, I'm so stoked I'm playing through it again.
That's so cool.
Just because it's cool to see those fond memories like stick, like, and to be able to like play most of it for myself, because it was a game back when I was a kid where we all passed with the controller, we all did stuff. My brother had the old strategy guide and everything too, you know. So it was just one of those things where I'm like, wow, I'm like re-experiencing this game all over again, but I'm still remembering it so much too, because there's bits and pieces I don't remember, and there's bits and pieces I do that I can do off the top of my head, like no problem. So it was just really cool to get through that part again. So this week I'm going to be starting the Forest Temple and stuff like that. The way it's been going is I'll do some outside activities, then I'll do a dungeon or a temple or whatever, or at least start one or something. I beat the Dodongo's Cavern dungeon in like 30 minutes or something. It was so quick because I just remembered it off the top of my head. It was nuts. Like I was surprised how quickly I
speed running.
Yes, I was just like, dang, like I didn't expect that at all. Because it was one of those things where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get to it tonight, and then I'll start back up next week. And I was like, nope, I'm just gonna keep playing through this until I beat it. And so the Dodongo's one took me like, yeah, it was quick. Yeah, so Ocarina of Time is so cool to replay that. I'm replaying it on the Switch for the Switch Online stuff. So, yeah, and so the other thing that I've still been playing a lot of, it's been in my brain ever since, like, I'm kind of stoked that I've been, like, usually when I get done with a game after I review it, I, like, take a break from it because I'm like, okay, I've played it for 2.5 weeks. But I have not stopped with Street Fighter. Still playing the crap out of it. I entered a tournament yesterday, a local tournament, and it was super fun. I placed 9th. I tied like with 2 other people for 9th, and so it would have been one of those things where if I won one more match, I would have made top 8, because then the other 2 people were ahead of us were tied for 7th place.
Yep.
So I'm just like, it was so wild. It was cool though. Like there were so many people. There was people that are like, there's like a greater like Louisiana like Discord where it's like people from all parts of the state are involved in it for like the fighting game community, and then there's the one for just the local venue, and so many people, like, it's a Smash. They primarily do Smash, like I said. I think I said last
yes,
time.
sir.
But
Yep.
but they host it, and so it's really cool. There's people of all kind of levels that came, and Street Fighter was the biggest turnout. I didn't think about doing them, but I maybe should have just for fun. But they had Guilty Gear Strive and Tekken 7. But I'm like, I hadn't played those games in so long where I'm just like, I'm lasered in on Street Fighter right now. I don't want to play anything else. Like, so I was like, I'm just enter the one. The biggest turnout was for Street Fighter. We had people that didn't even compete; they just came to watch. So
Nice.
and it was nine out of so I placed 9th out of like 16 people. So it was fun. It was neat. First person I played against, I won a few rounds, which felt good. I'm like, oh crap! I at least it wasn't like a shutout. Like I won a few rounds. I was happy with myself. Second person I played was pretty new to the game. Primarily played Smash, but really cool person, really cool dude. He's like, hey, you should come to the Smash nights. I was like, I'm down.
Yeah.
So it was just neat. Like
We love our Smash communities.
and it was cool because, like, I mean, he's like, I've only played this maybe like twice, and so he's like, and I showed him. I was like, yeah, pick the modern controls, and it was kind of cool. Like, I was kind of telling him some stuff as we were playing. He actually did catch me with a round. When he picked Ryu, Ryu's so good at anti-air and just everything.
Sure.
Ryu's he's an all-around balanced fighter, and I kind of got a little cocky for a sec, or not cocky, but like I just kind of I got too comfortable. I'll say that, and so I ended up losing a round, and I was like, oh, I'm like, I cannot let that happen. So I ended up winning. I was like, you know what? Okay, it's time to go hard again. So I I helped him out, but then so I ended up winning that fight, and then the round I got eliminated in was cool. I fought against a DJ, and he's a character I don't fight against online often because you're usually fighting. Two main characters I'm fighting online are the people that people are usually simping for, basically, is like Cammy and Jury, basically, and a few other like more common fighters. But it was fun though. It was a really good time. I went home yesterday thinking, like, at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna give myself a break from Street Fighter, but then I also went home thinking, like, I just want to play more Street Fighter again.
Just
so,
keep
like,
going, lean into that. Oh,
my mind was so conflicted. I'm like, I ended up playing something else just to like rest my brain, but I was like, I low-key just wanted to go play more Street Fighter when I got home. It's good though. I'm enjoying it, and it makes me so happy to see different people trying Street Fighter, and like, just maybe to fill spots in the tournament, I don't know, but it's cool. Like, a lot of people compare the modern control set to Smash because basically you got your light, medium, heavy. Then you have the one button where you push that in a direction, and that's basically one of their super moves or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's really simple. Like that's what everybody compares it to. It's like, oh, Smash, like that's simple like that, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, and it makes sense. So yeah, that's it. That's what I've been up to in gaming.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shelley, have you been playing anything else? I think
Nope, not yet, but hopefully I'll have something to talk about next week besides Tears of the Kingdom.
nice. Same, maybe, probably not for me. Let's get into the gaming news, though. LJ, I know you got a lot.
Yes, so this was the not E3 week.
Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, so I'm going to go through some highlights of the Summer Game Fest first. Let's see, the first one I know I'll definitely be picking up day one is Sonic Superstars. They have a new Sonic game. It's very much in the vein of like the old 2D ones, but you can play co-op with a bunch of people at once.
Yeah, it looks
fun.
Cool.
Like, I already know my nephews. I showed my nephew as soon as I got home from work. I'm like, we're gonna play this.
Yep.
So
Heck
I'm gonna
yeah.
be playing that. They did show Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay, which is looking awesome. More Baldur's Gate news for the D&D folks. I mean, even if you're not into D&D, Baldur's Gate is still a classic game.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 got a release date for October? Yeah, I think October, like 20th. Sandland looks cool. That's a game that was designed by Akira Toriyama. Let me see. Let me go through here. Oh, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they showed a lot more of that. That is coming out early next year. So if you loved the remake, then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is that's coming. And then so that's Summer Game Fest. Really, there's a few other smaller things in there, but that's kind of those are the big things for sure. Let's see. Let me move on to the Xbox showcase. I feel like there's a lot more to talk about here.
There was so many different showcases.
And there was a lot of little things. Like, there's some really cool indie games that are coming out. Like, I'm not even going into those, but the Wholesome Direct had like 80 games or something, I think.
Yeah, and there was also there's also a Devolver Digital one. There was
Devolver had a Direct, had a showcase.
They had an accessibility one. That one I watched part of that. I didn't get to watch all of it, but anyway, it's like there's so many games, so many.
Yeah. I find it interesting task. Anna has logged everything for our video game department. So if there's anything like somebody on the team wants to cover, like they can basically like we can make note of it, and then that helps us PR folks, me and Derek. That helps us be able to be like, oh, we have people interested in this. Like, let's go and request it, or let's go and see. I love these moments too because I get a bunch of PR emails as these events are happening, so it's like really cool. Let's see. So we have for the Xbox showcase, Avowed, which is Obsidian's new game. Obsidian did Outer Worlds, which is cool.
Yeah.
We have Clockwork Revolution is the newest game from... Oh, that's not the We Happy Few people. That's from In Exile, which basically looks like Bioshock Infinite, in a good way. I'm just going down the list here, but the big thing that they opened up with was Fable. There's a cinematic for the new Fable.
Oh, Fable.
And that's looking kind of cool. It's looking very unique and interesting. They're still keeping the humor. It looked like it was partially like modern time, too. So I'm really curious as to what that direction is going to be. Let me scroll through. Senua Saga. This is the one that you guys are probably most interested in, or at least Cody is.
I'm very interested, yeah.
Yeah, I never finished the first Hellblade, but what I played I enjoyed a lot. This game
taught me a lot.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that game that's going to be huge. That's coming 2024. A lot of these games on this showcase, on the Xbox showcase, are coming 2024. Let's see. South of Midnight looks cool. That's from Compulsion Games, the makers of We Happy Few, I think. That was a cinematic. We got a lot on Starfield. Starfield, that game is looking really cool. The conversation around that is, I think we're having in gaming chat, is like it's going to be another massive game. And everybody's like, man, I'm just playing through Tears of the Kingdom still. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I'm down for something like that. I haven't really, other than Diablo, like just killing a bunch of stuff for hours on end. That's going to be a massive game I'll get into. Let me see. 33 Immortals I only make note of because that's Thunder Lotus. That's from the makers of Spiritfarer.
Sweet.
They're getting back to more of their action roots. But it's basically a top-down action game, and it's going to be 33-player online co-op, basically, where you're going to be able to fight all these battles and bosses like with a bunch of like 30 other players at the same time. Like, it looks really neat. Let me see what else we got here. Like a Dragon, basically Yakuza, teaser for a new Yakuza game that was quite hilarious. And then looks like we're getting into some of the on this news page. We're getting into some of the Persona stuff.
Oh, so man,
the leaks are all confirmed. Were all confirmed. The Persona 3 remake, or not Persona 3.
Persona 3.
Persona 3. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I got mixed around because there's so many like re-releases. But yeah, so there was a Persona 3 remake. There's a Persona 5 Tactica, which is basically like Fire Emblem Tactics style, but like Persona.
Say no more. Fire Emblem and Persona, my two biggest anime loves, or video game loves, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But that looks interesting. I'm like, that could be fun. Yeah, and then I think my theory is that Atlas let those two things leak, I feel like. Atlas let those off. Because I don't think, at least I'm not aware, that this metaphor Refantasio.
Such a weird name.
This is some Shin Megami Tensei level stuff going on here with this one. But this is their new IP. And so this isn't a new Persona game, even though it does look like the UI and stuff like that looked so Persona 5.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, but this looks bonkers. So a lot of people are excited for this. I think it's a good time for them to introduce a new IP too, I think, because it's like so many people got into Persona through 5 and everything like that. So those Persona the Atlas games they got a good partnership going on with Xbox right now. I don't know what it is, but all those are gonna supposedly be on PlayStation and stuff like that too. So it's not just like Xbox that those are gonna pop on. The other thing I'm excited about is Payday 3. It's time for me to get my old crew back together. I played so much of Payday 2. It was ridiculous. A few years ago. That's coming to Game Pass. And yeah, I think that's kind of it for... let me finish scrolling through. Oh, Cyberpunk, I guess. They have the new expansion for that. That looks cool. And a Monkey Island crossover with Sea of Thieves. That's pretty dang smart. Yeah. No, like I saw the Lucasfilm logo or the Lucas Games logo when they first did that, and I'm like, what? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot Monkey Island. And then they also introduced a new Xbox, the Series S. That's going to be $350, and it's going to be a terabyte now. But then everybody's like, well, why don't you just get the Series X at that point, or just get more memory? So, who knows? Yeah. And I think, so that's it for the Xbox showcase. I'm going to go right into some of the Ubisoft Forward stuff and Capcom stuff. These got dropped today, and I barely was home from work for an hour before we started the podcast, so I didn't get to look at everything. But the highlight, I think, for the Ubisoft thing that got announced during the Xbox showcase is Star Wars Outlaws. And that is a adventure game. Basically, looks like Uncharted, but Star Wars to me. Which doesn't sound like a bad thing. Like, that's not a bad thing. I'll have to watch their gameplay thing in more detail, because I skimmed through it just because I wanted to see what it was like.
Yeah, for me, it looked almost more like Star Wars Assassin's Creed or Star Wars, some sort of open world kind
Somebody said Grand Theft Tatooine. So
Grand Theft Tatooine.
Yeah. Which probably the Assassin's Creed thing is probably more accurate. From what I saw, it looked very Uncharted adventure-esque.
I saw very little of it. It looked cool though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let me check here real quick. More stuff about Assassin's Creed Mirage, which I'm on board for that because it seems like it's going to go back to old school format.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to see. Oh, the new Prince of Persia game. I think it looks really cool. That got announced during Summer Game Fest.
That's right.
That is a. They're going back to a 2D platform style, but it looks so awesome. Like, it looks super cool. Like something like Celeste or something. Like, it's just going to be like super fun, like locomotion style. Like, just you're going to be moving through those levels pretty nicely.
Yeah.
Let's see. I saw there's like some laser. Oh, okay, never mind. There's like the makers of Castlevania are doing a show. I guess this got revealed during the Ubisoft thing.
Oh, cool.
Let's see. Oh, Avatar. Apparently, there was stuff about
Avatar Frontiers of Pandora.
Frontiers of Pandora. I was looking for this. I need to go and I'll watch this later.
There's just too much to watch. All of it.
That's what I was like, I'm barely scrolling through some of that, but it sounds like that is what that was the Ubisoft thing. And then Capcom, I really don't think there was much to say about Capcom. Talking about the Exo Primal thing, Dragon's Dogma 2, Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney trilogy, which I think those are definitely spin-offs of the Phoenix Wright. And I think that's it. Ghost Trick demo. There is another new Capcom game that got revealed during Xbox that looks so crazy. I think that's it. I can take a breath now. Yeah, that's a lot though. There's so much more. There's really cool. There's a lot of cool indie games that I really want to check out from these other showcases too. So that's about it.
So much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard to absorb it all, and like some of these games too.
Yeah.
I mean, like I feel like so conflicted about Persona 3 because it is deserving of a remake, but it sounds like they're not taking some stuff from FES and they're not taking stuff from Portable. So there's no like femme protagonist, and they don't have the answer, which is kind of like an extra story bit from FES, which granted, I've heard everyone said it's terrible. So I've not played it. People are complaining that's not there, but they also said it was terrible. So I'm kind of like, are we really going to complain about that per se? But I think it would have been nice to
at least let you play as the female protag or something. Like if you're going to remake the game, they must have done that. Like
it's disappointing that it's very clearly not meant to be a definitive edition, even though it's a remake. Yeah. So it's a remake of the original Persona 3 game. I think they are adding a couple things. Like, I think I heard, and don't quote me on this, but I think I heard that they are going to keep you get to control the party members, because that's something that wasn't in the original. And that was actually introduced in Portable. So it sounds like that. I believe I've heard that's going to stay, which is like, thank goodness, or otherwise I probably just wouldn't get the game, low-key. Because I kind of need to control my party members. I'm just too used to that personally. But as someone who just bought Persona 3 Portable recently and started as the male protagonist just because I was like, oh, well, I'll play female afterwards because it's my first time playing. So I just want to, like, have the original experience, kind of. But now I'm like, well, if I want to get this new Persona 3 game, I don't want to play the same game twice. Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is, even though I actually am, like, I'm not far into this Persona game. I'm far enough that it's a little bit kind of like sad to restart, but I think I am just going to restart and then just go with the femme protagonist instead, just so because I want that experience. And I definitely am not about to play the game 3 times. Like, that is not happening. I'm like twice max, probably. So it's like I'm excited about Persona 3. A little bit sad it's not a definitive edition. But if it was a definitive edition, then my purchase of Persona 3 Portable would actually be pointless. I suppose. So I guess I can't be too mad. It's just like, it's kind of weird feelings. I'm kind of like all over the place. But this new IP of theirs looks really good. And I'll probably get all of those, right? I'll probably get that. And the Persona 3 remake. And their new IP. I was going to say Persona 5 Tacticia. Yeah, I'll probably also get that. I'm also like, please, guys, can we please have any hint or indication of Persona 6? Why do we have to keep milking Persona 5? Like, how many spin-off games? Like, granted, Strikers was awesome. Really like Strikers. Need to play
Strikers. I'm waiting to finish the first one, or the original, though.
Yeah, but I'm like, gang, like, how many spin-off and sequels can we have of this game? There's, like, dancing, there's Q2.
The one I would accept, though, is if they made a new arena.
I know they're not even doing arena. Yeah, that's what's upsetting. Just like,
that's the one they should have done.
I'm sure Tacticia will be fun, especially for someone like me who's used to that style of gameplay with Fire Emblem. But I almost would prefer arena, low key, because I'm more iconic, I think. But anyway, I just kind of want to do Persona 6. I'm really interested in that, and everyone is, but especially now it's very obvious that it's going to be years and years and years away. Like they do not care. They're milking this cow till it's dead.
Yep.
But anyway, those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah. Cool.
We'll get into the movies then. I did get to see... I keep on calling it Into the Spider-Verse, but it's Across the Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse.
I just call them all Spider-Verse now.
I do also just refer to Spider-Verse.
It doesn't matter if it's the first one or the second one now. I'm watching Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse 2. I feel like, I don't know, Into the Spider-Verse just makes a lot of sense for this movie specifically, because he goes into the Spider-Verse.
No, he goes across it. The last one was an introduction to it. So into it. Anyway.
I feel like the Spider-Verse kind of came to him, the first movie.
Yes.
I don't know.
I agree. It kind of did in this one too, low-key, but anyway.
Yeah.
How'd you like it? Did you like it? Did you hate it?
I really enjoyed it.
Okay,
it was a lot of fun.
It's so good.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Your opinion is right.
The obviously there's cameos. I won't get too far into it. One of them was especially surprising to me. Bold choice.
Yeah.
And I was really
Sony go crazy.
Yeah, and there was a lot of them. There was a lot of cool stuff. But that was in particular. And I think my favorite line is in the beginning of the movie, so it's not too spoilery, and it has nothing to do with the story. Is actually I suppose this is meta commentary on modern art.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I like that one too.
Because it was meta commentary of meta commentary.
I think my favorite line, just off the top of my head, which also I'll say with zero context, so it's not spoilery, is when Miles says, "Imagine that." I don't know why, it just kills me every time. I'm just like, bro, you're hilarious.
But no, it's really, really good. We were talking about this before the podcast, but I really enjoyed that the first movie kind of established this aesthetic, and you can kind of see that aesthetic's somewhat being copied a little bit. Mm-hmm. We see that in Arcane, kind of, and then the new Ninja Turtle movies kind of getting this.
I would argue it's pretty different in TMNT.
There was even a few video games in the showcases recently that I'm like, ooh, that looks kind of like that style, like that.
Into the Spiderverse is very comic book-esque. Even the shadows and the way that the rendering looks like it's off a comic book, and they do that on purpose. Mm-hmm. Whereas TMNT looks painted. It looks like everything is painted, which I think is... And so, when you say, animation, sure, it's similar. Animation is sort of, controlling frame rates and using that as a, controlling how cool something looks, but I think aesthetic is very different, I would argue.
Okay.
I'll have to...
that's fair.
I'll have to send
I just
you
feel
the...
like Spider-Verse really started something.
Yes, I agree.
And so I'm seeing that it's kind of there's the other things where we want to do that too. And so then you have this movie, and they didn't do... It's like they established more.
Yeah, they went crazy.
Yeah, they could have just done the same thing, and it probably would have been just as amazing to watch if they would have just stuck with the art styles that they did with the first movie. But they kind of expanded upon it in really crazy ways. Mm-hmm. And
so cool. And
aesthetically, there's so much going on.
Not just with the visuals, because the visuals are amazing. I mean, come on. The color theory in some of those scenes, blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was just oh my gosh.
The soundtrack is so good, too.
But exactly, the soundtrack.
The scores, are just... Oh, I geek out because Spider-Man 2099's, theme, the stuff that, when he that appears and everything, is totally inspired by Spider-Man Unlimited, this cartoon that doesn't even really matter according to everything Spider-Man because it's so different. But I'm it just sounds like the intro to that show.
Which I'm pretty sure he's in that show. I'm sure that's why. I think he's in it.
And it's a weird alternate universe, so it's not even Spider-Man 2099, but it does take a lot of cues from it. So I'm that's kind of a neat callback, So
sweet.
It's a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, and I love the you could so easily tell who and what were from different places because of the aesthetic, but again, not just because of the visual, but you also the actual soundtrack would change depending on where they are or who they're with. And I just think that's so cool because you kind of get used to how the first movie was, right? And I love the first movie, obviously, so good, the whole aesthetic, the whole time with the soundtrack and everything. But you kind of get used to that and but this is just Miles. That's just all about Miles. And now you get this movie where it's about all these other characters too, and all these different other places, and you get to basically it's a window into their universes, right? It's with not just the visuals, but also with the sounds and the music. That's really cool. I've been listening to the soundtrack, or I've been listening to the albums. So recently, nice. Good music.
It is so incredibly done. It really is kind of like an art piece in itself. It's just it doesn't feel like a movie. It almost feels like it's, I don't know, just separate from the movies that we're used to watching, especially I watch a lot of live action stuff. I don't watch a lot of animated stuff. Mm-hmm. But the animated stuff I do watch, all of this like any Disney animated movie feels like a Disney animated movie.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Or DreamWorks, most DreamWorks stuff feels like a DreamWorks thing. And I think maybe because there's so many different art styles and things going on in this, that it feels like it's so much more unique than anything else. Out there, animated wise.
I think what's cool about this movie too, and the first one, you can apply to the first one as well, is that you can have visual eye candy on the screen and also have good story and characters. You can have both, and you could do both
definitely.
really, really well. Like, I think still, like, comparing this to, like, the Mario movie, it's like, what was even in the Mario movie? Literally just references and eye candy, and what's this movie? A lot of eye candy, a ton of references, but it's like it almost isn't what you're paying attention to because
and a
you're
great
so...
story. Like, to me, you can do an amazing story and a good visual piece at the same time.
Like, great, super fleshed out characters. Like, they introduce new characters in this movie, and they already feel, like, so fleshed out. You feel like you know them already, like, you've known them for a long time, and you care about them.
They did such a good job, yeah.
And, but it's like, I'm so tired of this weird sort of idea where it's like, oh, well, it's really good because they had all these references. Wow, aren't references amazing? I'm like, references are fine and fun, but they're kind of like the icing on top of a cake, like, or the frosting, right? It's like, you still gotta have a good cake under that, or else it's just pure sugar and it's just gross. And then afterwards you're like, what did I just eat? At least maybe that's just for me. Maybe some people love that. And like, Mario was kind of that similar feeling where I'm like, listen, I enjoyed it, but what did I just eat? Like, I'm so confused. Whereas this movie, I'm like, oh man, buffet. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Mario's like straight up junk food, basically, compared to
basically.
That argument that James Gunn, like, hate to say that he's right because he's trying to hype up his DC universe.
Sure.
With it, but like, he was like, superhero fatigue isn't real. It's just that superhero movies have been bad lately. He was like, Guardians 3 is a really good example of that. Of like, that was a good movie, and it was a superhero movie, but he actually cared about the story, and across the Spiderverse, they care about the story. And so when that happens,
you mean James Gunn?
You have a. Did I say? What did I say?
It's not. Well, it sounded like you said James Cameron.
I think
I'm like,
James Gunn. James Gunn.
James
DCU.
Gunn. Okay.
Guardians 3.
Sure. I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, why is James Cameron commenting on that superhero movies?
Why is
makes
he getting brought
way
up?
more sense that's coming from James Gunn.
Yeah, James Gunn stated that superhero fatigue isn't real, and that's kind of him trying to sell his DCU because he's like, it's still cool, trust us. But Guardians 3 does kind of prove that, like, if you make a movie that the story is actually like good and they actually put thought into it and it's not just this phone it in story, we will go to theaters and enjoy what we're watching. And I think Across the Spider-Verse kind of does that too. Obviously, it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But the intertwining of all these different storylines and pieces, and I mean, they had to juggle so much, and they still made it like so. It's so well done. It's so good. They've got one more movie, so we'll see. At least we'll see how. Hopefully, they don't mess it up in the third act, but.
Literally a third act.
It's been home runs.
Yeah.
So far, everything's been amazing. I feel bad for Tom Holland trying to make Spider-Man 4.
Yo, I do too. I do not care about MCU Spider-Man at all, bro. I already kind of didn't care, but especially after this movie, I'm like, dude, there is nothing that MCU Spider-Man can even offer me right now that Spider-Verse isn't giving me.
Yeah.
It makes you realize how much of a mess that trilogy kind of is. Like, not that it's bad, but it's definitely a mess. We were questioning timeline stuff during the first movie. Like, you know? Like,
yes. Exactly. Yeah. It's like anything, I'm just saying, anything you liked about No Way Home, anything you even liked about, honestly, even the other two MCU Spider movies, like this movie, these two movies, I would say, Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, simply do it better. Anything you liked from those movies, this just does it better. So I'm like, why not just watch these movies? I mean, it's fine if you like those movies, obviously, it's fine, but yeah.
Like, he's gonna have to give up the Spider-Verse stuff.
Yeah.
Tom Holland Spider-Man. Like, there's you can't touch this. Like, don't go near this. Or
no,
you're
I
just setting
agree.
yourself up for failure.
Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah. It's rough to be Tom Holland Spider-Man. We'll see. I guess I just read a thing that said Spider-Man 4 script is going well according to Tom Holland.
Cool. Okay.
Which is surprising because
then
the last
I saw
thing I read
yeah, go.
was he's taking a break from acting.
That's what I was going to say.
Back to Spider-Man 4 is if it can top Spider-Man 3. We'll see.
I mean, if you want Spider-Man 3, there's anything can top Spider-Man 3.
Yeah,
Well,
I would argue.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I feel like Tom Holland's best place probably is in other people's movies for a while. Just lay low, Tom Holland.
Lay low.
Be in a Daredevil movie.
I love Tom Holland, but yeah, I kind of agree. It's not his fault. It's the writers. It's something else. He acts his heart out.
Or something.
It's never his fault.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing you could... Like, what do we do? I guess we put him in the Spiderverse. That seems to be working. It would be so bad.
It just wouldn't, yeah.
Yeah.
Not gonna work.
He needs to be... I'll watch a Daredevil movie, and then he can be in Daredevil movie.
Then there was the
That could be
stuff...
neat.
So cool.
Mm-hmm.
There was the stuff about Amy Pascal saying that they were gonna... I don't know how true this was. I think it was just red carpet talk or premiere talk. But then there was all this stuff that came out like after the premiere of her saying like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a live-action Miles thing. And I'm like, that news did not last long at all. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
That kind of worries me too.
I don't know. It's all pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What, LJ, you watched the
Into
first
the
one.
Yeah, I don't really have anything much more to say. Like, but
It's a work of art. Watch it.
Well, yeah, watching the first one after, because like we had my nephew over and I put it on for him the other night because I don't think he'd seen the whole thing. I know he knew enough like to like enjoy Across the Spider-Verse, but it tripped me out how like this one they went really hard on Across the Spider-Verse. Like, not that they didn't on Into the Spider-Verse, but it's weird like seeing like what an advancement the second one is compared to this first one that was absolutely mind-blowing at the time. Like, I was just
yeah, totally.
I remember coming out of that first one going, holy crap, what did I watch? Like, that was so cool. And then this one, like, I mean, I did the same thing at the end of the second one. I was like, oh my gosh. So it's just weird. Like, I'm not like, not that I'm saying like, oh, this one's bad now, because it's not, but it was
it's
weird
almost
seeing...
I remember when I walked out of the theater the first time watching, because I actually watched Spider-Verse again this last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And again, because Tears of the Kingdom has been on my mind, I was like, you know what, this kind of does feel like you can kind of compare like Into the Spider-Verse and Breath of the Wild, like being so amazing at its time and still very, very good on its own.
Yeah.
But now you have the sequel and somehow it's made that just so much better and you had no idea that was possible.
Yes.
I'm like, this is like kind of funny timing how this is working out.
Into the Spider-Verse seems like such a, like, even with plot, like the plot is, I mean, the story is fine, like it, but even like it just feels like a much more basic movie compared to Across.
I agree.
And it's so weird to say that. I'm like, this is not like, this was not this way when it came out. Like, yeah.
But just now you're comparing it to what it is now, and you're like, oh my
like,
gosh.
I'm like, this is crazy.
So cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have much else to
animation.
say. Mm-hmm.
I was trying to figure out how to like bring this in there if it mattered or not, but I think it's worth throwing out into the ears of people. At work, everyone's been talking about My Hero Academia, so I've been watching My Hero Academia, and we were talking about there. I guess they're doing a live action on Netflix, maybe, which sounds terrible.
Oof,
that's always a bad idea.
Yeah, and they've made animated movies before, and they like the animated movie studios usually give them like their all. But how great would it be instead of a live action to just give My Hero, or I think Demon Slayer would probably get a really good results out of this, but give them like a Hollywood budget and just let them make really good animated movies. I would love that.
Yep, that sounds like a better investment.
Yeah, how cool would it be? Or like, I mean, I don't know what the big anime is right now, but just big animated movies. Probably My Hero.
Good question. I actually don't know. I feel like I'm a little detached from that scene right now. Right now, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Demon Slayer was real big for a while, and I haven't heard anyone talk about it. And then, like I said, all my coworkers talking about it. It's like the last season of My Hero has been.
I feel like, I was gonna say, I feel like My Hero, it's almost like a love. I don't know, like not love hate thing, but it's like I feel like it's been like. It started off really high, then I think there was a season or so where people were down on it, and then it got...
That's like a resurgence, yeah.
Yes,
the last few seasons, like,
now,
it's been crazy.
Yes, now there's kind of a resurgence, yeah.
But, I don't know. It doesn't even... Like, even Dragon Ball Z, I don't know if I need another Dragon Ball Z movie, but that would be well known enough that if they made like a Hollywood budget Dragon Ball Z movie that was animated and not live action, it could like bring in such a crowd. It would make money. Let these anime studios make anime.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Side note, I want more animated things. All right. And then Shelley, did you mention that you watched it twice?
Yeah, and
She did.
Okay.
yeah, I'd watched it. I watched it a second time.
I've been tempted.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw. Well, at first I saw it with my husband and some friends. Then my sister wanted to watch it. She didn't want to watch alone. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go see it again. Sure.
Nice.
No sweat off my back. Yeah, it was cool watching the second time because I definitely caught way more stuff and noticed way more things like, you know, related to the themes, related to certain characters. Obviously, I'm not going to dive into any of it because of spoilers, but I thought, I'm like, man, like, how's this movie even better on a second watch, bro? Like, and it's so funny because I had told my boss, right, about this. I had seen it a second time, and then later today, he actually texted me because someone he was following tweeted saying that they feel like they're only getting all of the movie after watching it 3 times. And I'm like, yeah, I do feel like it's that kind of movie. It's not like a movie like Inception or, you know, where it's like, oh, you have to think through like everything and you only understand and like catch these little hints and stuff after a rewatch because you know what happens now. It's more so like you start to see the themes come through way more. You already know what's happening, so you can pay attention to other things now and like little details and yeah.
Sounds a lot like listening to an album to me. Like, you know, you can't just listen to it once. You gotta catch it a few more times to hear every little thing or word or beat or whatever, you know.
No,
like
exactly. I think you
detail.
totally... That's like a really good comparison, I think. Is definitely like a... Listening to the album the first time, you're like, oh my gosh. And then listening to it a second time, it's like a little bit of a different perspective. It's still amazing. Mm-hmm. But now you're kind of like, oh, I didn't catch this. Or, oh, I didn't think about it this way because I was so paid attention to this other thing. Or, you know, whatever. So...
Yeah.
I do think that's a good sort of segue into our news, though, because the first time I had watched this movie, I kind of struggled to hear some of the dialogue, especially in the beginning. And I thought, that was totally a me problem. I thought, man, I never even, like, talked to other people about it because I was just like, you know, I can't really tell what's being said, but, you know, it's fine. Like, the movie's going to go on and it's going to be fine. And obviously, the movie went on and it was fine. But, there were other like articles coming out about how other people couldn't hear at the beginning. Like something about the audio mixing was like just made it such a way where the music was really loud, dialogue too quiet, something like that. And I felt actually pretty validated. I was like, oh, so I'm not crazy that was kind of like a struggle to listen to. So what they're doing now is they're actually sort of like releasing like an update or like essentially patching it. The movie to fix the sound issue. And I know some theaters have been told specifically like to turn up the volume at that beginning part and then turn it down later or to like do some sort of mixing on the fly. But I think what they're doing now is actually like essentially patching it as a movie, which is like crazy to me. And honestly, I don't know if it had already rolled out or if maybe I just was able to pay attention better because it was a second viewing. Like, that could totally be it, but that second viewing, I literally went to the same theater, mind you. I was at the same theater, and I swear I could hear it better the second time around. So, I thought that was kind of crazy. But, anyway, that's just kind of a weird, like, thing to think about. But, I mean, I'm glad, though, right? Like, if that's the worst part of the movie, is that you can't really hear the dialogue sometimes, like, that's not too bad because there's so many movies and shows out there that you just like can't hear it all. That is unfortunately a normal thing. So I actually think it's cool that they're listening to fans. If anything, if they have the power to make a fix, it's crazy that they have that power, but I'm glad that they're actually doing that. Because hey, I'm not even hard of hearing. Like I'm perfectly well hearing. And if I'm the one struggling, like, other people are going to be struggling more. So I think it's really cool that they listen to fans and they're like, hey, we want people to be able to, like, hear that. And maybe they just didn't catch it. I feel like it could set a bad precedent for future movies, you know, that games have. I really hope that's not the case. I feel like that's kind of an extreme example. But maybe in the very far future, I hope that's not the case. Imagine, like, the first half of the maybe like for a couple weeks, a movie's out, they have like one ending or certain scenes, and then they change it. Like, that'd be crazy. Like, anyway, that's just weird to think about. But that's it for that. And then the other thing I want to mention for movie news is that the directors, I think, for the Super Mario movie are actually making a Flintstones reboot movie. They're making and it's not, I don't know if it's actually going to be animated or not. I assume it will be just because it's Flintstones, but I don't actually know 100%. I mean, it should be for sure, but it sounds like it's going to be like a reboot kind of origin story of like the Flintstones coming together, making a family kind of thing, which I think is cool. I think that's fine. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Flintstones is like reaching back. I don't know. Like, I haven't seen a Flintstone thing in
for some reason I think of that like weird Grinch animated movie that they did a few years ago. Like, with that was kind of
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Like, yeah, so I almost see it like that kind of like, I don't know, like just this weird thing. It is
kind of a weird thing, but I mean, as far as reboots and old IPs and old media to pull from, I guess you could definitely do worse than Flintstones. You could do more disrespectful than Flintstones. If anything, Flintstones kind of been dead for a while, no pun intended. But so I guess sure, bring a little reboot. There's not, I don't think there's any Flintstone stuff for the youths right now. So sure, let's
except for vitamins and gummies.
That's where I know the Flintstones from, man. Like, when I think of Flintstones, I do not think of the show. I do not think of like merge. I think of multivitamins. That is what I think of.
You were a Flintstones kid.
I was a Flintstones kid.
That was the whole catchphrase.
So funny. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm glad I'm not the only one with that experience. I feel very validated. The Flintstones. That's all we have for movies. Really, we had a lot for video games. We talked a lot about Spiderverse, but as far as movie news, we just don't have much, so we can move on.
Cool. We'll get into TV then. I've just been watching My Hero, so I'm on season 3. What have you guys been watching?
I've not. No shows for me. Nope. Nothing.
What are you, LJ?
I binged 2 shows in one week somehow.
What?
Nice. All right.
Only because they were a season long, and they weren't very long. So the first one I watched, super funny. It premiered on like Amazon's freebie thing, but all of them showed up on Prime. And it's Jury Duty, and it's basically the whole concept is there's one guy who thinks he's signing up for some documentary about like the court system, and then 11 other people that are actors. And they tell you this going into the show. Everything is fake. The court case is fake. Everything. It's all rigged around this guy. And it's basically an experiment just to see like how he does with everything. A lot of the actors are pretty no-name actors. I think there's one of them that I kind of recognize in like 1 or 2 things as a side character. Mm-hmm. But the best part of the whole, to me, is my favorite, is James Marsden plays himself. Basically the guy who was in Sonic and Enchanted and X-Men. He plays off of being himself and being such a mid-actor, so it's so funny. Because he's like telling the guy, he's like, I think I recognize you. And then he's like, yeah, like X-Men, Sonic. He goes, oh, I heard Sonic was bad. Or he's like, I heard somebody told me that wasn't a good movie, which that part was weird to me because I'm like, I think everybody agrees Sonic was a good movie.
Yeah.
But then there's things like, it's just, there's so much that happens, and it's one of the most randomest things, and it's all stuff that would probably not even happen in an actual like case. Mm-hmm. It is funny. If you have Prime, I highly recommend it. It is almost a really cool social experiment in a lot of ways, because the actors have to they have to act and do things based on what he does, and they kind of go into so they kind of show stuff later on that kind of like gets you a behind the scenes look and like how everything had to play out, and it's so good. It's a easy recommend on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
The other thing, and it's funny because usually I'm watching something super geeky or whatever, like, so that's just like funny comedy, like
nice. Yeah, always good.
This other thing I watched was a documentary, and it's like almost a true crime kind of a thing, but it's called The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, and it was about this little girl who had dwarfism, but then also or she was adopted, but then also there was this whole stuff about how she could actually be an adult. And all this crazy stuff. This happened in Indiana. It's a wild case because it's one of those things where it's like, they kind of start you off like, they definitely have you believing different things across like a couple episodes each, because they're not like, to me, they're not being biased, because they're making you think one thing and think another. Like they're trying to like, they kind of have you think one way, and then they could be like, oh, well, let's move forward and see how your thought changes on what's going on. The parents are like, so it sounds like there's a lot of drama with the age thing. That's like the big thing. And then it becomes a thing about a court case about neglect and all this stuff. And it's just one of those situations. By the end of the show, that's still an ongoing case. There's no guilty party. I mean, there's no innocent party.
Man,
everybody's just like, everybody's guilty of something to different degrees or whatever. It's wild. They end up like it's one of those things where it's like they don't really know what to do with the girl. They end up getting her an apartment because they legally change her age, and so that's where the issue comes up. Is how old was she when you rented her this apartment? Was she actually a kid or was she an adult? And then it becomes this whole thing. Yeah, and it becomes this whole thing about, okay, who's in the wrong here? What really happened? It's wild. I think it premiered on the ID channel or the Discovery Channel before Max, but then it got kind of big because it popped up on Max. It's still an ongoing case, and it's funny. Derek has a slight. We were talking about this on in the Backlog Golf Chat. Derek has like a slight connection, I guess one of the kids of the parents went to the same grad school or something. So it was kind of weird hearing it, because I'm like, I mentioned it the other day that I was watching it, and he goes, okay, this is freaky. And so I'm just like, so I got him watching it now too in parts. Mm-hmm. And so it's so wild. That's basically like, it's super nuts. But if people are into that thing, because I know true crime and documentary stuff is like a weird popular thing these days. Yeah, because the Duggar documentary is out right now too. Yes, and a lot of folks are watching. And that's what got me mentioning it. Was Joe mentioned the Duggar documentary, and so I'm just like, which is also messed up. I haven't watched it, but I have friends who are watching it and were telling me about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so this is just equally insane. It's just. Yeah, that's about all I can say. If anybody really wants to watch it, it's on Max. A coworker recommended me both of these shows, and I told her today, I was like, I haven't binged 2 shows within a week in a long time. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm like, it must be good, because I told her offhand, I'm like, I'm not really a documentary guy, but it was more interesting enough to where I actually finished this. I didn't finish Tiger King. I was like, I'm like, I finished it. To me, it was much more interesting than Tiger King, if that says anything. Anyway, that's about it.
Sweet. We'll get into the TV news then. Just got a couple things here. Mm-hmm. One of them is the trailer for Twisted Metal.
That's right.
Made by Peacock.
Yeah.
Looks like it's made by Peacock.
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
That's all I say. I'm like, it's that guy.
I want to know his, agent. Because I feel like he's just given real bad roles.
Yeah, rip.
Yeah. It's never him. He does good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine.
I think he does well. He acts well.
I don't know.
He did amazing what he was given in Altered Carbon, and what he was given was garbage compared to the season before it. Yeah, I don't know.
This scene they showed, though, I'm like, what is going on? Because Twisted Metal is you get in the car and you shoot stuff, right? So I'm just and I think this is supposed to be set in Vegas? Yeah, so I'm just like, oh, I don't like it. That whole interaction between Anthony Mackie's character and I'm like, what
You've
is
never
this
fought outside of your car, have you?
Yeah, and then so isn't one of the Deadpool? I think one of the Deadpool writers is involved with this, right? I don't. So it seems, in hindsight, it seems very similar to that, kind of humor.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
like,
I
this
guess
is so like, I kind of wanted this cheesiness out of it too. I'm like, this is gonna be so stupid, but in like, hopefully like the best way possible. But just that whole interaction and the thong song and everything was like, I'm like, this is stupid. It was funny.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense, but I was laughing anyway. I'm like,
I'm
why?
interested. It doesn't look good. I want to point that out.
Yeah, like, it doesn't
I'm
necessarily...
still intrigued.
You can
I
still
can't
watch it
say-
even if it's not very good.
I can't say it looks good off of one scene, like, you know, but like, 'cause especially this scene. But I'm like, this is stupid. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But in a funny way. I'm like, you showed us like probably one of the most goofiest scenes in the whole show. I'm assuming.
Maybe not. Maybe they're like, this is the tone.
Sets the tone.
I mean, you're not wrong either. Like, if this is the tone, like, I think I'm okay with that. But just like, yeah, I gotta see more.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anthony Mackie, man.
I was just laughing. He's like, yeah. He's like, you hit them notes good. Like, he's.
I really feel like I want to blame Peacock. I haven't watched anything good out of Peacock yet.
The only thing
Twisted Metal, I'd have way.
I was gonna say the only thing Peacock has that's good is The Office. That's why people get Peacock.
I got Peacock because I thought I was going to get back into wrestling in the last couple months, like for the pay-per-view events, and I've not watched one since I've even had it. And I'm like, okay, I'll keep it around for I'll keep it around for Twisted Metal.
There you
go.
If Max had it, I would be like, it's going to be awesome. Same writers and everything, I would be like, this is going to be okay. This, I don't know if it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Something else I am excited for, though, even though we're getting to the end of an era, is Witcher. We got season 3 trailer. This is still Henry Cavill. It's not Liam Hemsworth.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, Henry Cavill was either fired or quit. We really don't know what happened. At first it was, he's going to be Superman now, and so he needs to quit his TV show job so he has time to be Superman, and that didn't happen. And now the reports are like, and Henry Cavill's come out and said that he does this, but that they had kind of a fight on set because he would refuse to do scenes that were against the source material.
So Henry, how Henry Cavill of him? How very Henry Cavill of him?
Our hero. Like, if he got fired for that, then every fan's going to be like, no, he was the right one.
Yeah.
If he quit because of it, then we still have his back, and he'll be missed. But we have him still June 29th and July 27th is 2 volumes for season 3. I'm assuming they needed a little time to rewrite the last part of the season, so that they could get rid of him and have him transform into Liam Hemsworth's Geralt soon. Gerald.
Gerald.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm excited for this season. Season 3 is going to be cool. I will probably... I might give season 4 a chance, but it might be my farewell to...
We gotta see some footage.
Yeah, I don't want to say Liam Hemsworth is going to be terrible without looking at it and seeing how he does.
I just can't picture him. We just can't picture him as Geralt right now.
I'm more worried about the writing and stuff. Like, if Henry Cavill was actually keeping everything together, I don't trust Netflix with a lot these days.
Yeah. Can't even trust him with my own account. I mean...
Yo, no kidding.
They were hitting me up. They were hitting me up this morning about paying more. Yeah, I'm like, nope, I'm not making any more accounts. No. I've marked everything as my household, and y'all aren't taking any more of my money.
Nice. I haven't been on Netflix, so I don't know what that's all going to look like. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on Netflix. So we'll see. Yeah, it'll be an end of an era. We'll see about it. Like I said, I don't trust Netflix's creative choices very much. So. But season 1 was real weird, and that was, that wasn't a perfect season either.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. You guys geeking out about anything else this week?
I think that's it.
No, not me. I'm good.
We will end the podcast there then. Shelley, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at TheShellshock24.
And LJ?
You can find me everywhere on social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at LJ the Paladin.
Cool. And you can find me on Instagram at Cody Armour. and on twitch.tv/Geeks Under Grace sometimes on Wednesdays. Yeah. Well, the podcast there. Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Bye.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter, or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.